Hey everyone, welcome to another live edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and Mario Heron talking Charger football with you. This is one of my favorite shows we're going to do today. And by the way, before we get started, make sure you push the subscribe button and especially push the like button. When we do giveaways, you're going to have to be a subscriber, by the way. When we figure this out, all we know is this. You're going to have to subscribe, and that's the way you're going to be entered in the contest to give things away, and giveaways will be coming this year. So we're excited about that as well. But again, if you followed us all the way here to the Bolt Crew podcast, as we left our old name, and thank you so much. It has been pretty seamless, much easier than we thought it was going to be. And again, for the people in the middle of the day that are watching, paying attention to the show, thank you so much. It's always great to have an audience. All right, so here's the deal. This is what we're going to do on today's show. Before we get to the show, we have some NFL news for you, but we're going to do our game-by-game predictions, and we're going to predict our records. Now, someone asked in the last chat, hey, guys, can you guys go through your records from a year ago? And I was thinking, that's a great idea. And then the more I thought about it, 5 seconds later, we are not going to do that. It was a disaster last year. It takes away all our credibility for what we're about to say today, because I know I was the worst one. I don't know about these guys here, but I think I had like 13-4. I mean, some number that I'm embarrassed to say. And they ended up with the 5th overall pick in the draft, didn't make the playoffs, didn't go to the Super Bowl, anything like that. So we're not going to go over what we had last year. It wasn't fun. When we did it, I thought like I was the smartest man on the planet, but again, showed that none of us are very smart. I was the dumbest one in the room. So screw that. That's a horrible idea. Thanks for your opinion, but overall, guys, that was a terrible idea. Before we start, though, through everything, guys, I do want to start with the Tee Higgins news, and I'm going to throw it to Mario first, Josh, on this, as far as Tee Higgins and what's going on in Cincinnati.
Well, apparently, he's a little upset. Obviously, he wanted a contract extension. They're not going to do that. They gave him the franchise tag, and he's decided to ignore that. Has not signed it yet. There's obviously OTAs going on right now, and he has not showed up for it. And I believe that he has until next week to sign the franchise tag, or I can't remember what happens after that, but it's not good stuff. The thing that's interesting about this is, one, he's coming off a really, really bad year. It was not a great season for him this last year. He's a wide receiver too. And guys, we were talking about a lot last night on the show on air. I think this is itching more and more towards a trade. And Chargers were being thrown around a lot on national radio yesterday. And it's not a hardball move. It's not a move that screams out something that he would do. However, Josh, they kind of have the assets, and if you look at the payroll next year, they have the payroll to pay him, and we kind of need a wide receiver one.
I would take Tee Higgins in a second. I just don't think it's going to happen with them getting rid of Mike Williams. I think that was a clear sign that Tee Higgins is not going to be a Charger anytime in the near future. I think he's great. I've said on this show many times, I think Tee Higgins is the best number 2 in the NFL. I don't know if he's the best number 2 in the NFL, but he's up there. He's very good, and he's better than anything the Chargers have on their roster. The difference he makes to the Bengals is substantial, to the point where we pick the schedule right now. If Tee Higgins is on the Bengals, it's going to be very difficult for the Chargers to win that game, even if it's at SoFi. If he's not on the team, I really like the Chargers' chances. That's how good Tee Higgins is, and that's how much of a difference he makes for that team.
Outstanding player, right? He's not the number 1, but I mean, they have Jamar Chase, who's definitely one of the best wide receivers in the league. I mean, definitely in the top 5, maybe top 3 wide receivers in the league. Here's what's interesting to me is I keep thinking more and more about the draft. And the other day, the Raiders lost, one of their longtime, players, Hall of Famer, Jim Otto died. He's, old guy, and used to see him at games when I would go cover Charger games when they were in San Diego. He used to sit behind me. Al Davis always sat there and traveled with Hall of Famers on the Raiders. And you turn around, you look at his hands, and he had these big fingers, and they're all bent up. Anyone who's been around former NFL players, you look at their fingers and their hands, and you go, man, they've been through a lot. And he has the rings on, and you're just going, this guy couldn't be more proud to be part of that franchise. And I started thinking about how the Raiders are still that team in the division where everybody wants to beat the Raiders, right? The Chiefs, number 1 team they want to beat is the Raiders. The Broncos want to beat the Raiders. The Chargers want to beat the Raiders. For right now, the Chargers want to beat the Chiefs. And, 10 years ago, the Chargers wanted to beat the Broncos, but the Raiders are that team that everyone in the division hates. And I started thinking about what the Chargers did in the draft as far as drafting Joe Alt. And, we fought this and going, is this the right move? Not because Joe Alt wasn't a fantastic player. It was because we already had a left tackle, and is this going to work? If you were an NFL GM, would you do what the Chargers did, not only drafting a guy like Joe Alt, but let's say you already have your quarterback. You have Justin Herbert, whoever your franchise quarterback is. Could you take an offensive lineman, number 1 in the draft, like every year, and just say, hey, as long as we have a solid offensive line, we'll be okay. We're always going to be dangerous as long as we can protect our assets. And so you're going to protect your franchise quarterback, but also give them time to find your wide receivers, establish the running game. Even if you aren't a completely talented team, at least you know that they're going to cut down on the risk of injury, but at the same time, you should be able to move the ball no matter what the weather conditions are.
Okay, so there's 2 teams recently that have done this, and I don't think it's worked out well at all because they didn't do anything in the playoffs. The Indianapolis Colts have been talked about in recent years as having that dominant offensive line, and then the Dallas Cowboys. Well, you're going to say the Dallas Cowboys have put up so many points in recent years. Well, that hasn't amounted to anything. They haven't won anything in the playoffs, and then the Colts don't have Justin Herbert, right? No team except for about 5 have a quarterback as good as Justin Herbert, but they haven't won either. So just because you have that big-time offensive line does not equal wins, especially in the NFL when it's predicted on, or there's so much that goes into talent on the offense side of the ball with receivers and running backs. I think that's not enough to win, Mario. I like the pick with Joe Alt because we're trying to establish something, from the offensive line out. But like I said, this is year 1 of 3. I don't think the guys that are at the skill positions for the Chargers, for the most part, are going to be there in 2 or 3 years.
I'd agree with that. And they're not skill players that win you a Super Bowl, win you a playoff game, win you an AFC championship. Like, they're just not. They're not there yet. Maybe, down the road, can some of them develop into those playmakers? Yes. But as of right now, on May 21st, 2024, I'm 25 years old. A little hairy this morning. Probably need to shave soon. And they're not good enough to be playoff guys that can win you a playoff game. It's funny that you say that too, because that was the biggest thing in the Indianapolis long time. Like, we have the best O-line. You don't. You just have the most expensive O-line. And like you said, that didn't work out for him. And then any New York Jet fan right now is listening to this, if they are going, no, like, O-line matters, because they ignored it, and then Rodgers gets hurt. I think it's based off the team, but I think there's examples that go either way. I just want to sit back and just go, don't cheat the process, just go through the process. Because what we've seen through all different types of sports, you try to cheat the process is going to get you.
So when you look at what the Chargers are doing, you just mentioned, Josh, as far as the guys they have aren't guys that will be with the team, you think, in 2 to 3 years. I don't disagree with that, meaning the skilled guys. Is this a roster, though, that's strong enough or bad enough where we're going to look back at it in 2 or 3 years and laugh that, remember Harbaugh's first year, and start looking at that roster and go, they had this goofball, and this guy sucked, and this guy sucked, and we're just laughing, remember when he was on the team? Or is this one of those where, like, if you listen to Jim Harbaugh talk, and I believe Jim believes what he says. I don't think he's just telling you stuff to make you feel good and buy tickets and buy merchandise. But I think Jim believes he can win with this team.
Yeah, I don't think he's lying at all. But he also knows that this is not going to be the team of the future. You say, who's going to be there in 2-3 years? I'll go through this very quickly, the offensive starters right now. Josh Palmer, 2-3 years. I'm not sure. Quentin Johnston, he has to prove it this year. If he doesn't prove it this year, I don't think Quentin Johnston will be on the team in 2 years. Ladd McConkey, he'll be there. You got Will Disley and Hayden Hurst at tight end, not going to be there. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards in 2 to 3 years, they won't be there. And then you have Ben Mason, the fullback. He's not going to be there. So most of the starters that are, going to be catching the ball, running with the ball, they're not going to be on the team in 2 to 3 years. I don't know how you can justify anybody except for Ladd McConkey as a guy that's going to be on the team in 2 to 3 years.
And let's be honest. We're only saying he's on the team in 2 to 3 years because we don't know what we have for exactly, right? I mean, we all think it's going to be good, but because we're glass half full or glass overflowing guys, that we're like, this guy right here is going to be with us for 10 years. He's going to put a ring on, and he's going to be better than Julian Edelman.
So we're sold on Georgia guy.
Yeah, we're so sold on this guy because we don't know anything. All we have is hope. Right? We'd be crazy to come on. This guy sucks. That was a horrible move. But we're all in on this guy. I mean, it's all we have. Let's be honest. We know what the other guys can do. It's kind of like he's all we have. So we're all in. And I hope he is everything they said. I mean, they went out of their way to get him.
it's funny too. You said that because every time I think it was something that popped up, but it was something like Herbert to Ladd is strong. Like it's a very strong connection right now, and like in my mind right away, I would. What?
Give me a break. Give me a break. Don't tell me anything about that's done right now is going to be a strong connection. How would you possibly know that? Nobody would possibly know that. I don't care how many practices you go to. What? What does that mean? Anthony Richardson at this time last year was God. Remember that? At this time last year, Anthony Richardson was a God. You can't tell me a guy looks good in shorts and he's all of a sudden the go-to guy. I'm sure Ladd McConkey is going to be good, but dude, you cannot make that proclamation in May. It's insane.
All right.
I mean, every Jets reporter right now is going nuts. Like if you look at Twitter, they're all like Jets fire emoji looks good. It's like, dude, come on, man.
They said that last year. The Jets say that every offseason. But I mean, Dave knows. Quentin Johnson at this point last year was the man. Remember that? Remember how good he was?
At this point of the season, after he got drafted, Larry English, nobody looked better in shorts and t-shirts than Larry English. I'm telling you. It was a complete mess. You can't. Josh is right when you say, give me a break. And there's nothing the Jets fans or media can say to me that I'm buying in. I'm sorry. I'm considered the old guy in this show. The Jets haven't done anything in my lifetime. When Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl win, I wasn't alive. It's been a long time of Jets suffering football, but for some reason, Jets fans always think this is the year.
Not trying to be mean, but
you're about to.
No, really? I wasn't. I was genuinely surprised because I thought it was in the 70s.
No, it was in the 60s.
Wow.
I was born in the 70s. It was in the 60s. When Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl win against the Colts, it was in the 60s. Yeah. That's freaking ridiculous. Yeah, the Jets fans are a joke. There's nothing the Jets fans. They have to be the dumbest fan base going. I mean, the whole thing about Charlie Brown kicking the football and Lucy pulling it away, those are Jets fans. They're idiots. And even if the Jets have success this year, they're built for 1 year. The Jets are a 1-year team. I laugh at the Jets fans. And that's coming from a Charger fan that has been through a lot. Okay. The Jets are a joke. Absolute joke. Okay. Here's the only negative I'm going to say about Ladd McConkey. Okay. Because again, I'm all in. I know all of us are all in. Every Charger fan is. Dude, I'm an SEC football fan. All right. We don't hide it. Josh and I are huge Alabama fans. The only team to beat Georgia, 2 times in the last 3-4 years is Alabama. Dude, there's not one time Alabama got ready to play Georgia. I was like, man, we got to figure out a way to control Ladd McConkey. Like, he was never even part of the conversation. Am I right, Josh?
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right.
I mean, that's what's kind of scary, too. And we're talking college football, and I'm like, this is a big SEC championship game. This is a big national championship game. He goes, where's Ladd McConkey? Not one time, even coming out of the huddle or when he goes to the line going, where the hell's Ladd McConkey? I never did that. Brock Bowers, I did that a lot. But overall, no, I hate to say it. I never worried about him in college. I hope he's the guy. I hope Jim's 100% right that it translates into the NFL.
It was Brock Bowers. That was the guy that Alabama fans were scared of. I think Ladd McConkey is going to be really good with the Chargers. But, yeah, there was no point over the last few years that you'd said Ladd McConkey's the guy to watch out for. I mean, Ladd McConkey's stats against Alabama, I'm looking him up right now. Last year, 3 catches for 38 yards. The year before, 1 catch for 3 yards. Alabama kept him in check, but that's college football. I mean, it's different than, Justin Herbert throwing him the ball.
I also just love that he was called multiple times by a lot of different reports and scouts, like the best route runner in the draft. Like, that's what we got over and over again. And I'm all for that. Yep. And, we made this comparison before, but I literally think it's going to be third and Ladd. Like, I think that's exactly what we're going to get this year. Similar to what Keenan was. I think Ladd's going to really fit into that role. I just want him to be in that role. Like, I'm fine with him if we just go to him on third down, like just have that. Because, again, him stepping into a receiver 1 role is just going to be a lot. But it's also a lot to ask of Quentin Johnston. I think it's going to be the most realistic option to ask for this is Palmer, which is crazy. But hey,
yeah, Quentin Johnston not only has a lot to prove to himself, but he has to prove to this coaching staff. I mean, this coaching staff and this GM don't owe Quentin Johnston anything. They aren't the ones that drafted him. That was someone else's mistake. You know what I'm saying? So if you're Quentin Johnston, you're like, I'm proving myself all over again. Like, everything I have is to show these guys that I belong in the NFL, and the previous GM didn't make a mistake. It's one of those to me. Anyway, that's that. So, all right, do you guys want to get to the games?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get to our picks. All right. We're going to start off week 1. The Chargers, they host the Las Vegas Raiders. It's September 8th, 105 kickoff on CBS. And guys, I'll go first. I'm going Chargers.
I'm going Chargers too. Like some payback for last season, getting your ass kicked, giving up 70 points. I like the Chargers at home.
I like the Chargers at home. I like them to cover in this game. I think it's going to be a beatdown. I would take Gardner Minshew to throw a pick. I'm really, really low on the Raiders this year. I think it's going to be a huge disappointment year for them. Chargers, I think, smoke them.
Yeah, a lot of talk that the Raiders are already looking forward to next year and what the quarterback market is, right? You're hearing all these rumors about Dak Prescott. You're hearing rumors about even Kirk Cousins making a trade, all that stuff for the Raiders to get their veteran quarterback, and that this year could be a tough year for Tom Telesco and the guys. Next up, Chargers are at the Carolina Panthers. Now, people will tell you this is a different Carolina Panther team. They've done more things to put around Bryce Young. They got a new coach. They got Canales over there to help him out, to say, hey, look, the quarterback whisperer is going to make Bryce Young what he is. And I'll let you guys go first on this one, but poor Bryce Young, man, still doesn't have what CJ Stroud has with the Texans. It's hard to compare him if he's a bust or not.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team right now. This is a bad team, a really bad team. Chargers should win this game, and it shouldn't be very close. The players they have on this starting roster are really bad. I'd like the Chargers to win, and at least by 10 points.
I like him to win by 10 points, but Josh, just keep in mind that Bryce Young looks fantastic right now.
Yeah.
I'll let you know that. Yeah, I like that big. I mean, the Panthers did possibly one of the worst trades in NFL history, and they're still recovering from it. So give me the week 1 dub.
All right, all three of us going the same way. We're going for the Chargers to start out the season 2-0, have the Chargers winning in Carolina as well. Next up, Chargers are still on the road. September 22nd, Chargers face the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll let you go first, Mario. What do you think?
Whew, so quick question. Who starts in this game, right? You know, like, is it so Wilson or is it Fields yet? Either way, I think in this game, it's the first tough road opponent. I'm going to go loss. I'm going to go L right here.
Okay.
Because and the factor that Fields could be his first game, then you get the Fields bump, the new quarterback bump, if you will.
All right, I'm going to go with that the quarterback will still be Russell Wilson. I thought it was an interesting thing that came out today about how Justin Fields and Nick Foles, the whole problem in the quarterback room with the Bears, going back where Foles was trying to be his mentor and try and tell him what you're looking for here and here. And he'd look at Fields and realize Fields had zero interest of listening to anything he had to say and was completely blowing him off. And Foles was like, F this guy. He goes, I'm not going to sit there and mentor anything. He can figure it all out on his own. I don't think Fields will ever be the quarterback unless Russell Wilson gets hurt. I don't think Fields gets an opportunity with Steelers. I don't understand the signing of these two. I understand the protection part, just in case to have somebody. But to me, I don't understand why would you get both of them. It didn't make any sense. Both guys need reps. Why would you make this move right here? I think the Steelers by name scare you, but the Steelers by their division, I'm picking them last in that division this year. I'm going Chargers start out 3-0.
Wow. See, I have this as a loss. The reason I have this as a loss is because the Steelers upgraded their defense. If they're healthy by game 3, which most teams are, they're going to have Patrick Queen. They're going to have Minka Fitzpatrick, Dante Jackson, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. That's a good defense. Chargers are going to be on the road in Pittsburgh. It's always going to be hard to win in Pittsburgh, even if the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't as good as usual. It's hard for me to say the Chargers are going to be 3-0 with the team they have right now. So I'm going to go 2-1. Chargers lose this game.
Okay. Next game up on the schedule. I'll go first. This one's my turn. It's September 29th. It's Sunday. This is a big, tough matchup. This is one the Chargers are going to win. They're back at home. They face the Kansas City Chiefs, 125 kickoff, CBS game. And Josh, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, so I was going back and forth to, are the Chargers going to split with the Chiefs? What's going to happen? I have it as a loss for right now. I was looking at the Chargers defense. On paper, I don't think the Chargers defense is what they need to be to compete with the Chiefs right now. I think they're still trying to recover from the Brandon Staley era. Jim Harbaugh needs to get his guys in there with Jesse Minter to kind of build that, culture, that reputation as a good defense. Like I said, I don't think the Chargers defense is there yet. I have this as a close game, but a loss.
Where you zig, I zag. I think that this is a big, big win for the Chargers. I think that going to this game, they're going to be at home. Like I said, it's the first year the home field advantage is going to come into play. They're going to be up. Harbaugh's going to have the boys going. You get to punch the Chiefs in the mouth. And the Chiefs, before this game, they have a terrible start to the year, right? They have the Ravens. They have the Bengals. They have to go at Atlanta. Like, Atlanta's not a great team, but they're a playoff team. And it's going to be hard to go on the road and win there. I think they're going to be through 3 tough challenges and be pretty beat up. And they're going to go in this game kind of tired and maybe overlooking the Chargers. Chargers have the bye next week. It's do or die for them in that game. We're going to punch them in the mouth, baby, and spit on them. Not really, but you know what I mean? I think they get the dub.
All right, here you said something I thought was interesting. I don't think anybody overlooks the Chargers this year. You know why? Because when Jim Harbaugh beats you, it hurts. Right? I mean, Jim Harbaugh is not afraid to go to the midfield at the end of a game and say a couple horrible things to you. Right? We've seen him do it when he was in college. He did it to Pete Carroll. He did it in Detroit. I mean, he'll go after a coach and put it in your face. Like, it is no fun losing to a Jim Harbaugh team. Like, he's not the guy that just shakes your hand and smiles. He's the guy that says a couple things to you that is like, all right, let's go to the parking lot and fight. Jim Harbaugh, by the way, will beat your ass in his khakis. Like, I'll take Jim Harbaugh. You don't want to challenge Jim Harbaugh. That being said, because the Chargers, I think, are the team the Chiefs know are the one team that could probably possibly chase them down. I don't think the Chiefs are concerned about the Broncos or the Raiders. It's Andy Reid, man, and he's going to still show why he's the dominant coach in this league. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. Until we can beat the Chiefs on a regular basis, unfortunately, I have to go with the Chiefs in this game. So right now, where we stand through 4 games, Mario and I both have the Chargers at 3-1. Josh has the Chargers at 2-2. There's a bye week on October 6th. Following week, they come back on October 13th. Chargers are at the Broncos. They're back on the road again. And I believe, Mario, it's your turn.
All right, so this one I'm a little conflicted about because it's in Denver. Obviously, but we're also coming off the bye, which is, pretty helpful for the Chargers. And I hate Bo Nix so much. I hate him with such a passion because I think he's not good at football. For safety reasons, I'm going to go loss.
Okay.
But I don't feel confident about it. I could see that really going either way. But I think we split with Denver this year.
All right. Well, I think the Chargers win this game. I think the Broncos are bad. I don't think they're going to be competitive this year. I don't like Bo Nix as a quarterback. I didn't like him at Auburn. I think he was overrated at Oregon because everybody plays well at Oregon. I really like the Chargers to win this game in Denver, and I really like the Chargers to sweep the Broncos, right? Win in Denver, and then obviously handle business at SoFi. So I have this as a win for the Chargers.
I have the Chargers as well. I just look at the Broncos and what they have, and I'll take the quarterback over their quarterback. I'll take our coach over their coach. And the weather's not going to be a factor for the Chargers in this. It's not going to be snowing. I'm going Chargers in this game as well. Next up, Chargers Monday Night Football. We're going October 21st. Chargers are at their Arizona Cardinals. And is it my turn to go first on this one?
I think it
All
is.
right, I'm going Chargers.
Any reason why?
It's the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals. Come on, please.
All right. So we're talking about question marks when you look at a starting team. I think besides the Panthers, you can't say there's another team in the NFL that has more question marks on the offensive and defensive side of the ball than the Arizona Cardinals. And that includes Marvin Harrison Jr., who is pissed off with Fanatics. Very weird situation. But I don't think the Cardinals are going to be anywhere near a good team this year. I know people said that last year, and they overperformed for a little bit during the year. But when your best proven player is a tight end and Trey McBride, and then you have Marvin Harrison Jr., who's unproven, I really like the Chargers to show up on Monday Night Football. It's not going to be a far, flight. It's in Arizona, so I think the Chargers handle business.
Chargers handle business, and I'm already just set this timer on May 21st. I'm going to bet the living crap out of Kyler Murray's props in that one for him to go over his rushing yards because he's going to be running all over that damn field. So I like that. And the under. I'm going to smash that under. I'm going to lick that under. Take that as you want it.
All right, all of us have the Chargers winning that game right there. Next game, Sunday, October 27th. Chargers are at home. They're taking on the Saints. 1:05 kickoff. This game's on Fox. And Josh, you go first in this one.
Yeah, so I like the Chargers to win this game as well. Besides the quarterback, the second most important thing to me is the coach. And I think Dennis Allen is not a head coach in the National Football League. It doesn't matter who's on this team because the Saints have proven that they've had good players in the past and they haven't been able to win. Derek Carr, I've never been a fan of. I think Alvin Kamara is on the back nine of his career for sure. And this team doesn't look very good to me. I like the Chargers to win this game and to win it, by a decent margin. I don't think Derek Carr wants to see the Chargers. He's played the Chargers so many times. The Chargers kind of know Derek Carr very well. I'd like the Chargers to win this game. I think they're going to do it.
I think they're going to do it as well. I think they own them in this game. Saints keep out for the we fall apart team. I think we should do that for a segment. Teams that we think are going to fall apart. Saints are got to be my number one right there, to be honest with you. That team's going to just dismantle and break down.
Yeah, Saints, I think, are going to see major changes after this season. I mean, the Saints are a team that, again, you have a quarterback that's erratic. Everybody loves him, but it doesn't matter what you do off the field and how much people like you. If you can play, you can play. If you can't, you can't. He can't. He couldn't play with the Raiders. He couldn't play with the Saints last year. A lot of people thought, including me, the Saints have a very good chance of having the best record in the league. I don't think they had a playoff team on their schedule a year ago. And then the outside of what was in the division, and the Saints completely effed the bed. They messed this thing up. Dennis Allen's the wrong coach. Shouldn't be there now. He'll be fired next year. There'll be a different coach. And the Saints are one of those, like, everybody knows you're a problem except yourself. You haven't figured it out that there need to be major changes. Everyone from outside knows it's the emperor's new clothes with the Saints, that everything's fine when actually it isn't. Everyone knows it is not. Chargers in this game. I like the Chargers a lot. Next one, we're moving all the way to November. It's November 3rd, Sunday. It's a morning game for the Chargers. Chargers travel to Cleveland, and I'll go first in this one. This is a Charger loss for me. I think the Browns are tough. I don't like the fact they have to travel almost 3,000 miles, and also the idea that this is, again, a very good, aggressive Cleveland team.
Yeah, I think this is the second hardest road game of the year for the Chargers. The addition of Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to be big for the Browns. You have two of the best route runners in the NFL with Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy, Roll Tide. And I think this Browns team is pretty good. They have a really good roster throughout, offense and defense. It's going to be a tough game for the Chargers. I think it's going to be really close. Chargers play the Browns close, every single time, it seems like. But I have this as a loss.
This as a loss. Even with the backup QBs all last year, they were in the playoffs, and they looked scary for a second. They looked like they could make a run in the playoffs, but obviously they didn't. Loss in Cleveland, it's going to be tough. I'll always say this. What if Deshaun Watson just decides to wake up and not be terrible, but we all hope he is. That's a loss for me. That's going to be another under game, by the way. Do you guys see more than 10 points being scored? Actually, I really don't know.
The Chargers come back on November 10th. Chargers play the Tennessee Titans. Titans considered one of the worst teams in the league. Titans are a team, to me, though, is a question mark. Like, you got to watch. We'll know what the Titans are by the time they face the Chargers. We'll know what Will Levis is. I mean, the question is Will Levis. They gave him a bunch of wide receivers. They have a new coach. What kind of franchise are the Titans as far as this is a new look? Obviously, it's not the same, punching in the face with Derrick Henry. This is all about the passing game with the Titans. And if Will Levis isn't what they think he is, the Titans are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think this is a win for the Chargers. Honestly, if you're a Titan fan, it could be a very, very scary long year for you if your quarterback is not what you think he is. I have the Chargers winning this game.
Chargers win this game. This is not a good team. The Titans have no depth whatsoever. They're in a complete rebuild. I don't think Will Levis is that guy, and I don't like this Titans team at all. You got two former Chargers starting on defense in Kenneth Murray and Sebastian Joseph Day. But, bad team. It's a really, really bad team. They took a step back with Derrick Henry out the door. I don't think Tony Pollard is the same player as Derrick Henry. Offensive line stinks. Chargers win this game.
They got question marks all over that field. The Tennessee Titans do. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Chargers there. Also, first-year head coach. What's that going to be like for them as well? Will Levis, at what point in the year are we saying Will Levis is leading the league in interceptions, or are they already shopping around and looking ahead at the tape of Shadir Sanders or Quinn Ewers or some college football prospect? So give me the Bolts.
Okay, so here we are. We have 9 games in so far. I'm 7-2. Mario and Josh are both 6-3. Okay, I know it sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous, but what can I tell you? It's what I see. All right. I'm trying to think. Am I betting with my heart or my head? Because 7-2 sounds crazy. That sounds crazy for a team that just picked 5th in the draft a month ago. That I have them at 7-2, but that's what I have them at. November 17th, Chargers are at home again. They take on the Bengals. They take on the team we were just talking about. If Joe Burrow is healthy, the Bengals are a different team. Josh, what do you have in this game?
All right, so you have the Chargers 7-2. This is easily the hardest stretch of the Chargers season right here. You have 4 very tough games in a row. 5, if you include the Buccaneers who made the playoffs last year. I'm going to assume Joe Burrow's healthy. I'm going to assume Tee Higgins is a Bengal. And I think this game goes down to the wire. It could go either way, but I'm going to say Chargers loss.
I'm with you. Chargers lost, especially because we're going to hit that point with the Bengals where they don't really play well at all in the first 4 weeks. And then in the back half, they said, hey, let's actually turn on. We're a playoff team. It's going to be a tough game. I think they lose this one. Sucks. Actually, I might try. Actually, you know what? No. I'm going to go win.
Are you? Okay. I'll change it.
Herbert plays well against the Bengals. Always does. I'll go win right there.
Okay.
I'll explain my reasoning later.
Okay. Next game, it's Monday night. Chargers again, 3rd game in a row at home. Chargers taking on, it's Jim and John Harbaugh. They know what they're doing, and they made the schedule here. The storylines that go with it. It's November 25th, Monday Night Football. People are writing on the side. Is that the game, Mario, that you said you're going to? What game did you say, Mario? It was really the Chargers-Titans. Isn't that what you agreed to? You thought you could make that one? Which one did you say you were going to try and make? People are asking on the side.
I think it was Chargers Ravens. Because I said yes, and Josh goes, that's Thanksgiving week.
You can make it Thanksgiving week?
No, it's
I don't know.
It's the 17th?
17th.
God dang it.
Oh, no, excuse me. You're right, dude. 17th is the Bengals. You have a better chance against the Bengals to go. Thanksgiving week is the Ravens. You're right.
All right, new target. Yeah. I have a wedding at some point. Whose wedding is that? It's not Josh's. All right, whatever. Beyond the point. Yes, because I think they lose against the Ravens. I think they lose this one. But I think they've either beat the Bengals or the Ravens. So I was going to go either way. So in suing that, I thought, okay, I think you could take out the Bengals. The Ravens would just be hard because Josh would literally copying their recipe and have half their coaching staff.
Josh, what do you have in this game?
Yeah, I have it as a loss. I think the Ravens are going to be really good again. Chargers did not look great against the Ravens last year. They held them for a little bit, but then Zay Flowers went off. I just think Zay Flowers is going to take another step forward. I think Lamar Jackson's one of the best players in the NFL, 2-time MVP for a reason. Roquan Smith, I think, is second best middle linebacker in the league. They have a really good team. Kyle Hamilton's one of the best safeties in the league. I just think this is a really good team. It's going to be hard for the Chargers to have the Ravens winning.
Yeah, I don't think Jim's ever beaten John either. I think he's 0-2 against his brother. People say 3 times the charm, whatever you want to say. I hope that's the case. I have it as a loss as well, which is disappointing to think that I have the Chargers losing back-to-back home games, Bengals and Ravens. Good chance if you make it to the postseason, by the way, you're going to face one of those teams, if not both of them again. That you'd like to see how you match up against those 2 teams. December 1st, I should say, moving on to December already. Chargers are at the Falcons. Again, it's an early game for the Chargers. Chargers facing Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. I'll go first in this one, and I have the Chargers winning. I don't see the Chargers losing 3 games in a row. I'll take the Chargers, even though the travel's far and they're going against an established quarterback.
You go, Mario.
I have a win here. I think things are going to get toxic in Atlanta. I think it's going to get really, really, really bad. I think the Cousins versus Penix thing's going to get even hotter, and Falcons aren't going to know how to deal with that. And Raheem Morris is going to get a little overwhelmed. I think at this point in the year too, the Chargers will be able to take advantage of that. And I think it's a good spot to face the Falcons. He's going to be turned up. And the more I think about this too, Josh, the more I'm thinking maybe Panthers can win that division just because I think the Saints are going to be a disaster and Falcons are just going to be in a drama hell.
I think the Chargers win this game as well. I don't think Kirk Cousins has as much talent as he did with the Vikings. I understand they have Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson. The problem with the Falcons is they have nothing on the inside, offensive line or defensive line. You have one very good offensive lineman, one very good defensive lineman in Grady Jarrett, but you have nothing on the outsides, right? That was the whole argument with Michael Penix Jr. Why didn't you draft Dallas Turner? You desperately need the edge rusher. They said, screw it. We're preparing for the 2028 season. We're going to draft Michael Penix Jr. So I think the Chargers win this game.
All right. So there we go. Right now, this far into the schedule, 12 games in, Mario and I are both 8-4, and Josh is 7-5. Coming up, Chiefs, Chargers again. Chargers are in Kansas City. It's December 8th. It's a 5:20 NBC Sunday Night Football game. You love playing in front of the national stars. So here we go. Josh, what do you have here? Chargers at the Chiefs.
It's the hardest game of the year, obviously. This is when the Chiefs absolutely turn it on every year. This is when the Chiefs are at their best. It's going to be very difficult to win this game. The weather's probably not going to be great. Chargers I have as a loss here.
Yeah, big time loss. I have them beating the Chiefs earlier in the season. I think it's going to be a revenge game for the Chiefs. I'm sorry for everyone that's listening to this. With way I'm thinking, I think this is going to be a big spot where the Chiefs blow us out because it's going to be a revenge factor, and I imagine they need some type of seeding at that point too.
Well, just curious, what's a blowout in the NFL to you? Losing by more than 10
points.
17.
10-17 is a start.
Okay. Man, I don't know. I don't know why I think that it won't be a blowout. I still like the Chiefs in this game. I understand. I mean, it's the Chiefs always have that battle with Seattle. Like, we have the loudest stadium. You know, that they always brag about that. It's December. I don't think you have to worry about the field being, hard as a rock and if guys freezing. But at the same time, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They play their best in December. I mean, right? The good teams win in December. Great teams win in January. Chiefs are back-to-back defending champions for a reason. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. Next up, it's December 15th. Chargers play at home. They face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Josh, what do you have?
I have this as a win. I think the Buccaneers last year was a fluke. I don't think the Buccaneers are that great. I think the Chargers win this game. That's all I have to say. I think the Chargers win against the Buccaneers.
Licking your opinion and putting it in my mouth and saying it right back out because I think that they smoked the Buccaneers here. I think they have a bad year. They lost their OC. I think their OC was a lot of their success this past year. I think that starts to fall apart. Love Baker Mayfield. Love his story. Love his attitude and everything like that. System's out. New system in. Baker Mayfield probably going to be out after this year.
All right, it's a sweep there as well. I have the Chargers taking care of the Buccaneers at home. I like their chances a lot in this one. Back-to-back games at home. Chargers on December 22nd come back and they'll face the Denver Broncos. In this game, again, I'll take the Chargers. I'll take just off the quarterback, the coaching, same reason I gave it before, and they're on the road. I just think the Chargers win at home against the Broncos.
When I think of the Denver Broncos, the first word that pops into my head is boring. I think it's a boring team. I don't think there's anybody on the team that makes you want to change the channel and watch the Broncos. That make you want to change the channel and put on another game. This team sucks. I think the best player on the team is far and away Patrick Surtain Jr., and then you have a bunch of guys. I don't think there's anybody on this team that you can say will be a Denver Bronco in 3 years, and that's including Bo Nix. I like the Chargers to win, even though the game's in Denver.
No, this game's in L.A.
Yeah, so I really like the Chargers to win. Jeez, blowout. How about that? Blowout. They're going to win in Denver. They're going to win Denver early in the year. Then they're going to blow them out at SoFi. Definite win.
I'm with this. I'm with you, Josh. I think it's a definite win. They're going to be so boring. So boring. Because I don't think Sean Payton either is going to open up the playbook. Like, I think he's going to do the Drew Brees slants where we're not going to throw the ball, farther than 10 yards. Like, it's going to be a brutal way that they win. But it's not going to work against LA.
Okay, 2 games left on the schedule. I'm laughing
Nuts.
because I could see where my final record's going to end up. 2 games left on the schedule. It's to be determined on both the day and the date. Chargers go on the road and they face the Patriots. Josh, what do you have?
So you're gonna have the 2 most boring games of the year back to back between the Broncos and the Patriots. Patriots are in contention for the number 1 pick next year. This team sucks so bad. I like the Chargers to win this game. I mean, they beat them last year. I mean, this team is terrible. I like the Chargers to win, and they should win handily.
Mario, what do you have?
They should win easily. I'm betting Patriots for worst record in the NFL. Like, I'm
Okay.
going to smoke that number. Yeah. And also, when that happens, can we not blame Drake May? Like, I actually don't think he's going to be that bad, but everyone's going to blame Drake May for it. Let's just be patient on him.
No, you can 100% you can blame Drake May.
Thanks.
Dude, you went after Mac Jones. You went after Mac Jones, wearing the same jersey number, same damn team, and you were ruthless to him.
Because he had 3 years.
You could go after Drake May because he went to North Carolina. You can go after him.
He had 3 years to figure it out. Give Drake May at least 2.
Maybe it counts who's surrounded by. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
dude.
Damn.
Here's who he's throwing the ball to. You guys ready?
I can't wait.
Nelson Aguilar in there?
No. You got Jalen Polk, Kendrick Bourne, and Demario Douglas. Those are Drake
Good
May's
Lord.
receivers. Holy hell. Tight end Hunter Henry. Dude, this team is
Terrible.
It's bad.
horrible, dude.
Yeah.
It's a bad team.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Mac Jones had Edelman at least his first year.
Oh, God.
I'm not
Look,
saying that's a.
No. Here's the funny thing is, like, I wish all the best to Drake May. Honestly, I'm cheering for him, but they say he might not even, be getting the majority of snaps this year. That he's kind of could be sitting there, just watching and learning. Isn't Drake May only like 20 years old? He's a young dude.
He's younger.
He's younger.
Dominic Rogers. Javon Baker, he was an Alabama guy. Couldn't hack it there. You think he's going to tear it up with the Patriots? No. Okay.
Dude, if I'm like, Josh, if you're May and you look at that roster, would you be like, yeah, I'm kind of fine sitting this one out? Like, Brissett, go
100%.
tank your numbers. Yeah, dude,
100%, dude.
oh,
I think I should learn from Jacoby Brissett. You go out there.
yeah. You go out there and play. I want a nice receiver next year, taking that 3rd overall.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a lot of effort to be as bad as that Patriots roster. Like, what the hell? I mean, seriously. The roster wasn't great when Brady was there, but at least he had a Gronkowski. You know what I mean? He had a Hall of Famer. I mean, that Patriots roster is really bad. Outside of Judon, it's horrible. It's really, I don't even know what you do.
Probably worse than the NFL, honestly.
Yeah.
This might be the worst roster. And they have a first-year head coach. It's bad, man.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Does anybody feel bad
make
for the
fun of their owner?
Patriots?
No, not at all. This is what we've all waited for. Like, when it's the Chiefs' turn to suck like this, we're going to celebrate every Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't get me going, dude.
Nobody feels bad for the Patriots, is right. All right, next up on the schedule, it's the last game of the regular season. Chargers back at the Raiders. They start with the Raiders. They know the Raiders. This game's in Las Vegas. This game, again, is a to be determined game, date, and time. We'll figure that out. They want to set this thing up, which could be a prime time and mean something. Mario, you go first in this one.
So at this point in the year, I'm predicting that Gardner Minshew has looked terrible and he's gotten injured. That everyone is realizing that hiring Antonio Pierce and listening to Max Crosby was not a good idea. And then Devontae Adams is probably traded or is really screaming out of how unhappy he is. And when all 3 of those things happen, this equals a Raiders huge loss and the Chargers go 2-0 against them. Another team that's, I think, inching towards a dumpster fire. It's going to be a tough year for them. Chargers go 2-0 against the Raiders.
What do you got,
got
Dave?
Josh?
No, I want to hear
You
what
want
you
me
say.
to finish up? I have the Chargers beating the Raiders as well. I think Antonio
All right.
Pierce is fired after this year. I think
Wow.
it's one thing to ride the wave of the excitement of everybody loves them, and you got to produce. Now you've had a full year. Again, going back to what we said earlier, Antonio Pierce is not Tom Telesco's guy. For some reason, Antonio Pierce walks around that facility acting like he has a bunch of Super Bowl championships he put in that trophy case, and he's sitting there telling Telesco, you get me Jaden Daniels, or you and I are going to meet in the parking lot kind of talk. I mean, ridiculous stuff that he says that Antonio Pierce is going to show, hey, you know what? I couldn't win with this roster, And before it was just we're going on smoke and mirrors and momentum, I think Antonio Pierce is gone and Tom Telesco hires his coach.
Okay, so I think I agree with that. I don't know if Antonio Pierce is going to be there at the end of the year, but I would love to be a fly on the wall to see Tom Telesco fire Antonio Pierce. What does that look like? Holy hell! Like that would
better
be
bring
awesome
a bodyguard, man. Yeah, you better bring
seriously.
a bodyguard.
So I think the Chargers lose this game, but I'll tell you why I think the Chargers lose the game. They're going to wrap up a playoff spot. Because I have the Chargers.
You just said that, hold on. I got to make sure my headphones are working there. You said the Chargers lose this game? Oh,
I'm trying to explain. Okay, so I think the Chargers have a playoff spot in hand by the time this game comes around in Week 18, and they rest their starters because they're going to be in a wild card position. They're not going to have home field advantage of the playoffs, but I do think the Chargers make the playoffs. I think 10-7 is going to be good enough for sure to make the playoffs, and they're going to have a really tough game to start the playoffs, but they're going to rest their guys against the Raiders, and then the Raiders are going to pull a classic Raiders move and win this game and screw up their draft position.
I don't hate that reasoning. I don't hate that reasoning at all. I get it. It'd be very, very Chargers Raiders.
All right, you ready for the finals? What we have? What our overall records are?
Yeah.
First of all, I think I don't know how the hell Mario and I got to where we are, but I'll start with Josh.
No.
Josh, it seems like it makes the most amount of sense that 10. You go to your team's 10-7 after picking 5th overall, man. That's a tremendous. Jump up to go, man, look what Harbaugh did with the team in the first year. Like 10-7 makes sense. Isn't easily all three of us went over the over from what Vegas said it was going to be on the wins.
Yeah.
Josh is 10-7. Mario and I are 12-5. I mean,
no, we are not.
Yeah, we are, dude. We're 12-5. And I'll be honest with you, for me, I went with that Bengals game. I just went with it because it seemed like I had too many wins going. But I'm like 12-5. I mean, it sounds insane. Last year I sounded crazy. Now you and I just sound ridiculous, Mario. Like we should be locked up.
Dave, what me and you did is we went to brunch and we decided to have one mimosa. And we just kept saying yes to things. Yeah. And then we woke up the next morning and go, what the hell did we just do? And that's how I feel literally right now.
Mario and I just did picks after not sleeping for 3 straight days, just on a bender. Yeah. And we still just pick games. I mean, it makes no sense how the hell we're 12-5, but sure enough, I feel confident in my picks.
And we started chasing Hair the dog, and then Josh was the one trying to get us out. You gotta calm down.
Yeah, 12-5, man. Remember that. Remember this, Mario. You and I are on the same page on this as the season goes on, and I'm sitting there screaming in post game shows. But yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I feel confident in my picks. There's not one I look at and go, I got to change that one. I feel good on all of them. So. In the division, I have the Chargers sweeping the Broncos, sweeping the Raiders, and losing both to the Chiefs. Okay, Josh, who's 5-1 in the division? Someone just wrote on this chat saying I like it, 5-1 in the division.
Is it me? What do I have? No, I have 4-2.
You have 4-2. I have 4-2.
Yeah, I got 2 losses to the Chiefs.
Do you have them? Do you have them losing to the Chiefs twice?
I do.
Yeah. You have 3. You have 4. You have 3-3. You have them losing to the Raiders. You just said.
Oh yeah, you're right. Shoot, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, Mario. What the hell are you?
I'm 4-2, right? Because I had the loss in Denver, and then I had the loss against the Chiefs. I lost at Denver.
Okay, you do. You haven't lost on Denver. Yeah, there you go. It is what it is.
Let me ask a question.
What are you
Who's worse, the Raiders or the Broncos?
Broncos. Raiders.
I say Broncos.
Ooh, I think Broncos, dude. I think that team sucks so bad. Knock on wood.
I think coaching is going to help Broncos.
I'm looking at Ryan's comment on the side. Ryan Culpepper says, you sounded crazy last year with Staley. You sound hopeful and educated with Harbaugh. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. It's very nice.
Thank you.
There you go.
Dean's list.
Oh my gosh. Damn.
That's interesting, though. So you think Broncos? You guys both think Broncos are worse?
I do.
Yeah.
Just by the quarter. Okay, let's go by quarterback. I don't know what Bo Nix is going to be, but at the same time, Gardner Minshew was serviceable with the Colts last year. He's serviceable everywhere he goes. Everyone wants to this guy's whole life. They've always wanted to overlook him, whether it was in college, whether it was with Jacksonville, Indianapolis, the Eagles. He really didn't get a chance to do anything. But Gardner Minshew is a serviceable backup quarterback, basically, who's now getting a chance to start for a year to hold down the fort till they grab somebody next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong, but like the Roosters come home on that. Like remember Joshua Dobbs last year? Like it was like this guy is amazing, and then
With
everyone's
that
hyped
trade
up,
for
but
him?
then and then
Yeah, it was cheap
stuff
speed.
comes back. Water finds
Yeah.
its level.
Yeah. Is Josh Dobbs even with the team this year? I mean, yeah.
Ooh, actually, I haven't looked that up.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
I think the Raiders had one of the better drafts, of the first couple picks at least. I like Brock Bowers, even though they already have Michael Mayer. I think you need 2 tight ends, and then I like JPJ for the center. I think that's a good pickup. I don't like Bo
Dobbs
Nix.
on the
I
Niners.
made that clear. Oh, great.
Dobbs is on the Niners?
What were you saying, Josh?
I said he'll never play. I mean, he's on the Niners, so he'll never get to play.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know, man. I tell you what, it's I can't wait for the season to start. I mean, we put it out there, Mario. You and I are stuck in this thing. 12-5. If they go 12-5, you and I are the smartest guys on the planet. But it does sound ridiculous. Let's be honest. Josh's sounds ridiculous. 10-7. I mean, look what they just did a year ago. Look, that's how much I guess we have faith in what Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz are doing here.
Okay, real quick before we get out of here, which win are you least confident in? I'll give you mine. Which one are you guys least confident
in? Wins?
Yeah. Yep.
I might go Steelers game week 3. I picked the Chargers to beat the Steelers. Wait, Mario, you had oh yeah,
I had Bengals.
Hold on. Did I mess this up? Oh no, we're fine. We're fine. Yeah. Well, but you have that's funny you say that. The Bengals, you have you have the Chargers beating the Bengals.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one I'll probably feel the least amount.
To make sure I counted all this up. Now look, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, as we go into every single game on our shows, whether it's Thursday night and we're sitting there putting these shows together, I'm gonna tell you every Thursday I think they're gonna win this game. Like I picked the Chargers to lose to the Browns. I'm gonna tell you by that Thursday before the game why they're gonna beat the Browns. Like I have faith they're gonna win every one of these damn things. Maybe not the Chiefs game in Kansas City, but I know I talk myself into it. Otherwise, why would I watch? I'm not gonna sit there turn the TV on to see them get their ass kicked. I'm gonna sit there and turn the TV on to watch the Chargers win so we can do a hell of a post game show. That's the goal. That's what's called being a fan. I like to say educated fan, but be honest. If I was putting money on it, I'm going 16-1. That's why I'm at in my head. They win the Charger game against the Chiefs at home, and then on the road they lose at Kansas City. But at 16-1 is what I have. That's what I believe. I've been talking why they're going to beat John Harbaugh and the Ravens too. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, when you look at the schedule, the Chargers play the worst division in the NFL in the NFC South, and then they play the best division in the AFC North. Well, it's a balanced schedule. Chargers actually, I think, have an easier schedule than most. The win I'm least confident in. Schedule. Yeah, the schedule's not that hard. I think the Falcons is my least confident win, just because I have no idea what they're going to be. And if Kyle Pitts gets the ball, I mean, he might be one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Who knows?
I've been saying that for 3 years.
That's what's crazy about them is like if you look at pieces that you need to be a great team, like they have it. They just there's nothing that's been put together for it. Also, just interesting thing that to watch out for is Chargers travel the most miles than anyone else in the NFL. So if that comes home at all, that'd be I don't know. Like I don't know if that's just something to talk about in the offseason or if that's something that actually matters.
Okay, I just in my opinion, and I'm not on planes as much as like say Josh who travels a lot. I don't know. See, even that's a huge factor. I just don't. It's one of those you can sit there and say it stacks up. It's not like you're playing, 162 games in a baseball season where you're like, man, you're on a plane a lot. I mean, it's one damn trip there and back. What are we doing? You get Tuesday as an off day to regroup in the time zone, the whole thing. You're basically your enthusiasm and excitement getting ready for a game to show people that's in front of a national TV audience and a sold out stadium. It's my time to perform. I can't imagine, the airplane thing where to me, where you see guys slip is either overconfident or they don't do the work or guys that are injured. And you don't know about some of the injuries, right? They always say like today, like they're going to OTAs. The first day of OTAs is one of those where you say, this is the last day I'm going to be healthy the rest of the year, 100%. And then they're injuries all the time. Everybody's hurting somewhere, but as you're sitting at home and you're making your homemade nachos and sitting on your couch and you're drinking whatever, You're going, what the hell's that guy's problem? Right? What do you mean that guy's in Denver and he's winded? I'm fine. I don't even have my shoes on. I'm breathing fine. You know, you get all upset.
Miller Lite. You're like,
Right?
oh, what's wrong? What's going on?
Yeah. You're like Napoleon Dynamite's brother with that big hunk of cheese, and you're grating it, making your BS nachos in the microwave. You know they don't come out good, but you're sitting there and you're yelling at somebody for not covering a wide receiver or getting burned. And you're like, what's that guy's problem? Right? You're like, I can't breathe. I don't know. Maybe we're 80 miles above the goddamn ocean. I can't believe I can't breathe. You know, there's a reason why I'm a pro and you aren't, but that's what we do as fans. That's what we do. You know, I don't. it's always so funny. Everybody who's watching this, and the three of us, we've all played sports where you're like, oh my God, dude, my lungs are burning. Like, you know, please don't snap the ball. Let's do this hurry up offense. I'm dying right now. And you're just like, just don't come my way. And you're like, oh no, here they come again. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. As a fan, we don't care how tired you are or how injured you are. You know, broken finger, broken toe, bad heel, doesn't matter. We don't care. We feel fine sitting at home. You know, do your job. That's the way it goes. I don't know. I still can't get over these records. Again, finals, Mario and I 12-5, Josh 10-7. We'll see how this thing plays out. What I want to do on one of the next few shows, guys, I want us to go through the division and pick the standings of each division as well. That's one of my other favorites that we do on first place and everything else. By the way, the game on here for me that I was surprised about out of all the picks, I was surprised Mario did pick the Chargers over the Falcons on the road. For some reason, Mario goes Atlanta in a lot of things. I don't know why. You have no connection to Atlanta. But Atlanta, I told you, is my team in the pros that I don't ever bet on the Falcons. It always goes the wrong way. I never bet on Michigan because it always goes the wrong way. And Mario, last year you were a super Atlanta fan. Remember, I made that bet with you. I would walk home if they lost from Atlanta to back to LA if the Chargers lost to the Falcons.
Almost happened. We did. It did almost happen. And we'll talk about more next episode. I know Josh has to go like right now, so we'll talk about more next episode, and maybe I'll represent Atlanta on my forehead.
Oh, there you go. All right, we'll be back in a couple days. Again, we want your comments, your predictions on what you think the Chargers, what they do. Tell us who you think is most accurate on our picks. If you think all three of us are crazy, please let us know that as well. So we'll be back with the Bolt Crew podcast in a few days. Again, push the like button, subscribe button. We need all that stuff. For Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you next time.